Hello class, and welcome to our presentation, some advice regarding time management. Now hold on a minute. Isn't this presentation supposed to be about stress management? Why you? Well, yes indeed. But one of the keys to effectively managing stress is to manage your time effectively. That is, when deadlines are looming, assignments are due, and the demands of life, school, and work begin to pile up, we can get overwhelmed, which results in stress. So to prevent yourself from becoming overly stressed in college, here are just a few tips to help you effectively manage your time. And here they are. 5 kind of bits of advice to assist you with time management. Design a manageable course schedule. Learn the art of planning. Know your limits. Tackle written assignments gradually. And don't be afraid to adapt. So we're just going to go over each of these in chronological order. So to begin, healthy time management begins with a well-designed course schedule. Now, in our COVID-19 online learning world, this means choosing a manageable number of courses each semester. So for example, did you know that the recommended number of online courses a student should take in one semester is no more than 4? That is, during a regular semester, most students take about 5 to 6 classes per semester. But as I'm sure you've all learned, the demands of online courses are much greater. That is, there's a great deal more reading, as well as written assignments, generally speaking. So again, as you're planning your next semester schedule, keep that in mind that 4 is kind of the usual recommended number, and that if you take over that, you're bound to become, or chances are you may become overwhelmed. And if possible, balance demanding courses with less demanding courses. So for example, it is not advisable to take 2 history or 2 English courses per semester, as these are writing intensive classes. So, as you are kind of designing your course schedule, just keep in mind, like, how can I balance these more demanding courses with less demanding classes? And if you'd like some recommendations, speak to an academic advisor. We're here to help you. Now, when we emerge from this COVID-19 pandemic, you're going to start making what are called real schedules. And when you start to make these real schedules where you actually have to plan meeting times for your classes, you will need to leave some room in your schedule for example, studying, writing papers, but also things like recreation, like going to the gym, going for walks, playing sports that you enjoy, going to the movies, keeping in mind like your social life and tutoring and office hours. So again, as you're planning your classes, you should be making room for these things because you need to. So when planning your real course schedule in the future, consider 1, allowing for gaps between classes to fit in library and study time. That is, oftentimes gaps are seen as bad things, like if you have history at 9 and then you have like a 2-hour gap and you don't meet until like 11 o'clock for your next class, something like that. But these are actually good things in the eyes of the advisement center because it's in that time that you can go see a tutor, you can go to the library, you can go to the gym, you can do kind of things in between and be productive. 2, break up study time into 2-hour increments instead of 4 or 6-hour increments. So again, this is another good reason to have gaps. You can study for a couple of hours in the morning, a couple of hours in the afternoon. This way you can actually remain, fresh and focused as opposed to dragging out studying for 4 to 6 hours in one sitting. And lastly, block off regular times to study for particular courses. So be like, okay, Tuesdays and Thursdays are the days I do like physics and social problems. Monday and Wednesday are the days that I do like, English and psychology. Block off like regular times for when you study for particular classes. And this is very important kind of in conclusion. So when you sit down with your academic advisor to create a schedule, keep in mind how many hours are in a day, how many hours are in a week. This may seem kind of common sense and practical, but guess what? It's not. A lot of folks, including myself every so often, need to be reminded that there's only 24 hours in a day, and during that amount of time, you also need time to sleep and eat and stuff like that. And there's only so many hours in the week that you can fit in, activities and study time and stuff. So be mindful of these things when you're making a schedule. If you work, keep in mind how many hours you work, and therefore how many hours you need for recreation, how many hours you need time for studying, for rest, sleep, etc. And here's the deal, if you can't fit in all of these priorities, then you may need to take fewer courses during the semester. If you are filling up your schedule with 18 credits or 6 classes and you're like, there's no way I can do all of these things while maintaining a healthy lifestyle, then chances are you're going to have to let one of them go or 2 of them go. So designing a manageable course schedule even before the semester begins is crucial to your managing your time and therefore managing your stress levels. And then this brings us to kind of our second tip, learn the art of planning. Now, there are generally speaking 3 different types of planning: long-term planning, short-term planning, and daily planning. So within the realm of college, when should I do long-term planning? Answer, during the first week of classes. That is, when classes begin, make sure that you either buy a planner or you learn to use a digital planner. Then you're going to want to gather together all of your syllabi and then write down in the planner all of the assignment due dates for the entire semester using different colored ink per class. So like use purple for history and like orange for psychology, etc. And this way, every time you open up your planner, you know what assignments are due and you won't forget. All right, so we know when you should do long-term planning at the beginning of the semester. So when should I do short-term planning? Answer, at the beginning of each week. So on Monday morning, or some people even like to do this on Sunday night, write in your planner all of the things that you need to do for the week and plan out when you will accomplish each goal. And this way, every time again you open up your planner, you'll be reminded of the things that you have to do for the rest of the week, and just keep checking off the boxes as you accomplish goals along the way. And lastly, when should I do daily planning? At the beginning of each day. So I know not everyone eats breakfast, but if you are a breakfast person like myself, I know that I like to, as I'm enjoying my coffee in the morning, I take out my planner and I spend like 10 to 15 minutes every morning just planning my day and reminding myself of my short-term as well as my long-term goals. This way, you approach each day and you know what needs to be accomplished. All right, now we've talked about the course schedule, we've talked about the art of planning. So know your limits. That is, if you are consistently feeling overwhelmed by your responsibilities, it may mean that you have taken on too much. Therefore, I encourage you all to listen to your gut. If you feel like it's too much, it is too much, and that means that something's got to give. So again, if you feel like you've bitten off more than you can chew, you're feeling overwhelmed, you're aware of your limitations, you're mindful of, what you can take and what you can't, listen to your gut. If something has to go, it has to go. And sometimes that means dropping or withdrawing from a class in the middle of the semester. The fourth bit of advice, tackle written assignments gradually. That is, don't wait until the last minute to write your papers. It never works out. Oh yeah, and I'm saying this from experience as a professor. If students wait last minute, you can tell as you're grading it. So to compose a respectable college paper, a student needs at least 3 days to complete the assignment. The first day should be dedicated to understanding the material and brainstorming ideas. The second day to composing a rough draft, and then the third day to composing a final draft. So again, I would say that 3 hours on a single day is not enough time, that you're going to want to break it up into little bits, and compose it gradually. That's my advice. And here's the deal. If you need some guidance regarding how to approach an assignment, talk to your professor, right? Have open communication. That is, your professor designed the assignment, so they should be able to give you advice on how to tackle it. And my last bit of advice, don't be afraid to adapt. That is, if your current schedule is not working, regroup and try something new. Just because you plan something out in the beginning of the semester doesn't mean you have to stick to it to the end of the semester. If it seems like it's not working, then again, you got to adapt. You got to be able to toss that old one out and try something new. That is, again, remember, I said to learn the art of planning. That is, planning your life is an art. It's nothing that's really like a science. It's not concrete. It takes time to learn what works best for you. So again, I encourage you, experiment, try new things. Don't be afraid to adapt. So in conclusion, we learned 5 things today, or 5 bits of advice for proper time management and thus for proper stress management. Design a manageable course schedule. Learn the art of planning. Know your limits, listen to your gut. Tackle written assignments gradually, and don't be afraid to adapt. All right, everyone, thanks for your attention. Looking forward to reading about your discussion forum stuff.